One of my favorite things about roller coasters is one of the little things that I don't think enough people talk about, and that is the entrance signs. The logos that display the name of the coaster can sometimes feature unique imagery and visuals. Whatever the size or shape, they all have the same objective. They're meant to grab your attention and get you excited to jump in the line for the coaster. Last year, I showcased some of my favorite roller coaster logos and entrance signs, and well, you guys really liked it. I also noticed a number of comments informing me of some really good ones that I missed. So let's take a look at some more. Welcome to Ejector Airtime, and here are another 20 awesome roller coaster logos and entrance signs. Before we get into it, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. Also be sure to give this video a like, as that will really help against the YouTube algorithm. Unlike the last video, in which I ranked my personal favorites, the signs featured in this one will not necessarily be ranked in any particular order. Feel free to take the time afterwards to rank your favorites in the comments. Number 20. The Voyage at Holiday World. Being in the Thanksgiving section of the park, we all know that this coaster is themed to the famous voyage of the Mayflower, the ship that brought pilgrims to America back in 1620. This theme carries over to the logo quite well. The creative way that it is designed to look like an old sailing ship looks great. The way that the letter G is extended to connect to the Y is also a great touch. Overall, this is a very simple logo, but it definitely is a very recognizable one in the world of coasters. Number 19. Terran at Phantasialand. This intimate multi-launch coaster has one of the most impressive layouts of any coaster in the world. The structures surrounding the coaster appear to offer a number of exciting near-miss elements. The coaster is located in the mystery section of the park, which depicts a village of old Norse cultures. What I like about the logo of Terran is how it features Celtic symbols in the text. Fitting, because the name Terran is actually from Celtic origin, meaning Earthman. I also like how the T kind of resembles a sword. I would love to travel abroad someday so I can experience this coaster. Number 18. Accelerator at Knott's Berry Farm. I like how this coaster, as well as the two that previously operated on its plot of land, have all been themed to racing. It seems that whenever a coaster is themed to racing or fast cars, there are certain things you can always see in the logo. Sometimes it's flames, other times it's neon. Being the first Intamin coaster featuring the hydraulic launch, the name and styling of the logo were very fitting. The italicized letters, the font that makes me think of Skechers shoes, and starting the name of the coaster with the letter X. It's on par with the early 2000s. It also goes well with being a launched coaster in which the trains are styled like a Chevy Bel Air. Once again, simple but fitting and very eye-catching. Number 17. The Swarm at Thorpe Park. This coaster's theme is centered around a post-apocalyptic setting, in which a swarm of flying mechanical creatures are destroying a large area. You enter the coaster by passing a number of vehicles and structures that were destroyed by this swarm. But before you enter, you pass under the entrance sign that displays on a large sheet of metal that's definitely seen better days. It's bent, faded, and looks like it's taken a few hits. It also features what appears to be a target over the letter R, almost like a laser pointing at it. Maybe this is supposed to resemble an eye of one of those mechanical creatures. It's a well-themed coaster, and the logo itself definitely can give an intimidating feeling just from walking up to it. Number 16. Possessed at Dorney Park. Impulse coasters are a lot of fun, but I don't think any of them have as impressive of a logo as this one. First of all, that skull is amazing. Reminds me of those ceramic skulls you see during Mexico's Day of the Dead celebrations. And the horns kind of make me think of the logo of Medusa at Discovery Kingdom. Not to mention those teeth that kind of make me think of the Joker. Paired with the colors and the font choice that's similar to that of Nemesis at Alton Towers, this logo would fit really well with some type of haunted house. I don't know what Dorney does during their Halloween celebrations, but they could really make an amazing haunted house based around Possessed if they wanted to. Number 15. El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This coaster is very high on my bucket list. Many consider this to be the best wooden coaster in the world, with its insane airtime moments and its incredible speed. And what would an iconic coaster be without a very recognizable logo? The entrance sign is so simplistic but so well done. Western style font and flames behind it. There's gotta be at least one enthusiast out there who has a tattoo of El Toro's logo. Some might say it needs a bowl to round it out, but I honestly don't mind it. Just another great example of less is more. Number 14. Galactica at Alton Towers. Most of the B&M flying coasters in the world are themed to Superman or some type of flying creature, but this one at Alton Towers takes on a space theme. Originally opening as Air, the coaster was renamed Galactica in 2016, and for 3 seasons featured VR headsets allowing riders the chance to feel like they were flying through space. The original logo looked pretty cool, but the current logo is just as solid of an upgrade as the name was. A great font choice, and the image is kind of reminiscent of the Star Trek logo. Someone needs to do that sometime. A Star Trek coaster would be amazing if executed correctly. Number 13. Conda at Walibi, Belgium. This is one that was mentioned in a comment. What makes this one really impressive is the fact that it's made out of rock work. I don't know if it was carved into the rock or if it was just placed onto one, but it is one of the coolest I have ever seen. The sign also features colors and patterns that you might see on a snake, fitting because the coaster trains resemble a large snake. It's sharp, it's big, and just like the coaster, it's impressive. I would love to have the chance to go see this one in person. Number 12. Lightning Rod at Dollywood. By now, most of us know the troubled history of this coaster. I unfortunately have never gotten the chance to ride it as a launch coaster, but one thing about this coaster that hasn't changed is its great entrance sign. Lightning Rod was themed to hot rod racers, and the logo even featured one. Dollywood one-upped the logo with flames and an eye-catching bright red bold lettering. Keeping with the car theme, they placed the logo on a raised post that resembles a sign you'd see outside of a gas station or a body shop. Dollywood puts a lot of thought into their theming, and this logo is no exception. Number 11. Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. There are a lot of Western-themed coasters out there, especially wooden coasters. Some of the logos and entrance signs that go along with them end up kind of looking the same or have very similar text. But when given a style and a story that sets it apart, it makes it just that much more eye-catching. Ghost Rider's theme centers around a Civil War soldier who migrated west for the gold rush. One day, he rode his horse into the mine and was never seen again, but rumors from the locals involve seeing a ghost of the soldier riding his horse. The mysterious soldier and his horse are depicted in the ride's logo, which is displayed all over the coaster. He's shown holding a large pickaxe in the air, and it accents the bold text very well. The ride entrance even looks like the opening of a mine shaft, which is a great touch. It really sets the tone for the wild ride you're about to experience. Number 10. Thunderbird at Holiday World. Another one from this park, and it just so happens to be right near the Voyage and the Thanksgiving section. The reason for this is that Thunderbird actually ties into the Voyage. When the coaster was announced, a legend was told of a Thunderbird that saved the Mayflower from a violent storm and helped get the ship to the New World by launching the ship through the sky. The logo for Thunderbird is an interesting one because the longer you look at it, the more details you notice. First, the wings of the Thunderbird match the colors of the trains. Then, there's the lightning bolt underneath the text. You can also see fog that almost hides the head of the bird, and even crashing waves can be seen back behind it. I also really like the color gradient in the text. The logo here is so well put together. I can't believe I overlooked this one when making the first video. Number 9. Tournament to Zeus at Park Asterix. This CCI coaster opened in 1997 and has long been a very popular wooden coaster ever since. And with the recent renovations made by Gravity Group, it's said to be better than ever, with a smoother ride, fresh elements, and brand new trains that feature the option of riding backwards in the last row. But one thing that hasn't changed is the iconic statue of Zeus at the entrance. While the logo and name of the coaster can be found on the ground as you're walking up, Zeus, with his wide eyes and lightning bolt in hand, is the one that gets all of the attention. In order to make your way to this coaster, you have to walk right underneath Zeus, but that's just part of the experience. Park Asterix decided to have a little fun with the statue by giving Zeus brightly colored underwear. So many people will often stop to take pictures as they walk underneath him. The color of them has been changed a few times over the years, but most recently he's been seen wearing pink underwear that featured rubber ducks. You can tell that the people in charge of Park Asterix have a great sense of humor. Number 8. Copperheads Strike at Carowinds. Some of the best designed entrance signs of recent years have been placed in the Cedar Fair parks, and Copperheads Strike is no exception. Not only did they give this coaster a great logo, but they did a stellar job recreating it for the entrance sign. Recreating a 2D logo as a 3D sign isn't always an easy task, but they nailed it here. The prominent snake looks great with its glowing orange eyes and the two styles of text that complement each other quite well. There's also a lot of detail in this sign. Carowinds did a great job with this one. Number 7. Hydra the Revenge at Dorney Park. Built on the site of the infamous Hercules wooden coaster, the name chosen for this B&M floorless coaster was perfect. On top of that, B&M appropriately gave the coaster a very twisted layout. Just look at that JoJo roll right out of the station and that wild cobra roll. Just as fitting is the entrance sign. If you don't know much about Greek mythology or haven't seen the Disney movie Hercules, Hydra was the monster that Hercules fought, which grew more heads each time he removed one. On the entrance sign, we see a total of 9 heads. This could be referencing the number of thrilling elements featured on the coaster, similar to how Great Bear at Hershey Park has 7 thrill elements, just as the Constellation has 7 stars. Bright green text, matching the color of the coaster track, also looks great. The tail of the Y twists around to make up part of the H, which is a nice touch. There's a lot to see in this sign if you take the time to appreciate it. Number 6. Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I have always liked this one ever since the first time I saw it. The font chosen was very fitting for the re-theming of what is now the new Screampunk district. Steampunk and its unique takes on fashion, art, literature, home decor, and even music is a very interesting thing to experience. I've always enjoyed the aesthetics of steampunk, and the logo fits it very well, with the addition of all of those gears and cogs behind the text. I personally hope more parks decide to make use of steampunk stylings. Even a full steampunk park would be amazing. Number 5. Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. Not much needs to be said about this sign. It's amazing. The text is very fitting for the name. As for the Phantom himself, wow. There's so much detail here. There's a lot of proper color contrast to depict the waving of his cloak. The face is very mysterious, and those bright green eyes are pretty sinister looking. I wonder if they glow in the dark. If they don't, it would be a great touch to make this logo look even more impressive. Number 4. Iron Menace at Dorney Park. Even though this coaster hasn't opened yet, I've been highly intrigued by this logo ever since it was first announced. I talk more about this in my analysis of the coaster. I love old steam trains, and the logo that they designed for Iron Menace reminds me of a nameplate that I might find on the front of a giant steam locomotive. Something like the Union Pacific's Big Boy and Challenger locomotives. It's so simple, yet it looks so good. I hope they make the entrance sign large and imposing when it opens. Number 3. Loch Ness Monster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. For a coaster designed back in the late 70s, that logo still looks just as great as it did back then. Those teeth make Nessie look pretty intimidating, and it probably was to the people riding for the first time back in 1978. The text reminds me of the old style of the Busch Gardens logo. Probably the best touch of this logo is how Nessie has 2 interlocked loops, a subtle reference to the defining feature of this coaster. How this coaster is nearly 50 years old and still stands as the only coaster in the world with interlocking vertical loops is mind-blowing to me. With the massive overhaul going on with this coaster, it looks like the logo might receive a slight update, but at least they aren't planning on removing the interlocked loops from Nessie in the new version. Number 2. Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure. Even though the text on this entrance isn't necessarily my favorite, this one has a great feature to it that you won't find on too many other coasters. Walking past the Hulk himself as he's holding up a piece of one of the coasters after he appears to have ripped it off the track is a great way to set the tone for the intense ride ahead. The greatest feature, however, is that track that you walk under. When the coaster was retracked in 2015, some of the original track was saved and they decided to put it to better use by featuring it in the entrance. So next time I visit Islands of Adventure, I'll have to remember as I walk by that I rode over that track when it was still on the coaster back in 2008. Number 1. SpongeBob SquarePants Rock Bottom Plunge at Nickelodeon Universe. I really should have featured this one in the first video. For those who don't watch SpongeBob, one of the most well-known episodes is Rock Bottom, in which SpongeBob and Patrick board the wrong bus after leaving the amusement park called Glove World. After passing a sign that says, "Leaving Bikini Bottom," their bus makes a straight down dive and leaves them stranded in a place called Rock Bottom. Being a Gerstlauer Eurofighter with a beyond vertical drop, the name is very fitting, and they designed the most perfect ride entrance to go right along with this coaster. Getting to walk under SpongeBob and Patrick, taking the plunge, and trying to slow it down with a glove balloon is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I remember being so excited to ride this one when I walked up to it for the first time, and that's exactly what an entrance sign is meant to do. Grab your attention and draw you in, and this definitely stands as one of the best of all time. That's going to do it for this video. Which one of these is your favorite? Also, if there are any more good ones out there that I missed, please let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do a part 3. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content.